The Witch in the Hundred Knight 2 is a sequel only in name to the previous entry. If you haven't played the original and want to jump into this entry, by all means go right ahead. As someone who hasn't seen the original, let alone any good reception to it, the jump into 2 had me a little worried. Thankfully, 2 seems to be on the right track. The Witch in the Hundred Knight 2 stars you, the Hundred Knight, your master Chelka, and the obnoxious cow Amelie. The relationship between these three are somewhat complicated. When the game begins, Amelie's sister Milm went to go pick some flowers for her sister as a birthday present. Unfortunately, Milm came back with Hexen syndrome, also known as witch disease. Those with said disease are to become cursed and become witches. Not wanting her sister to be killed, Amelie and Milm flee the village and live on their own. A year later, Amelie has joined the Weissritter, an organization made to combat witches as well as treat witch disease. Milm's surgery to get rid of her witch disease fails and awakens the witch Chelka, who then takes over Milm's body. Hearing about this, Amelie decides that she must kill Chelka before anyone else can. As it turns out, Milm is very much alive. Knowing this, Amelie decides to not kill Chelka, but to live with her and keep her in secret while researching a way to cure witch disease. So what does Hundred Knight have to do with all this? Well, the simple fact that Chelka acts like a spoiled brat when no one's giving her what she wants, so in this case, with you being her servant, you don't listen to her, but instead you listen to Amelie with no problems, which of course frustrates her. Other than that, the overarching characters and story in this game is serviceable. Not good, but certainly not bad. Amelie certainly embodies someone doing whatever they can to save the person they love the most. Interestingly enough, after a while, I got used to Chelka's antics. It's not just Chelka, but everyone that isn't Amelie has quite the titular personality to them, whether it be another witch like Prim, or someone from the Weissritter like Zophie. If you're looking for a game with tons of optional content, you're honestly barking up the wrong tree, as the only thing to do here is the story. While technically there are villages, there's nothing to do in them other than talking to the villagers. They're basically there only for story set pieces. The shopping and crafting is all done in your small hub world. Outside of your hub world area, Hundred Knight consumes gigacalories. If you aren't getting hit by an attack, then your gigacalories go down very slowly. If you are, then it depletes fairly quickly. Note that dying also depletes your gigacalories, and so does dodging. Having no gigacalories doesn't mean it's the end of the world, your stats just get severely reduced. On top of that, if you die with 0 gigacalories, you lose all of the items you found during your time outside the hub world, otherwise you'd lose a random item. The only ways to restore gigacalories is to eat items that are in your pouch, eat gigacalorie recovery items, or succeeding in a finisher called Depletura. Depletura doesn't restore a ton, but it definitely does curb the hunger just enough for you not to die, or enough to keep you satiated. That said, there are checkpoints all over the world map, and these checkpoints also contain an enemy right next to them to fully restore your gigacalories. In terms of combat, the game falls pretty hard. In concept, it sounds standard enough being that you have your basic and special attacks. However, it doesn't feel quite right, since the basic attack is just smashing square. For special attacks, it's R1 and then X, O, square, or triangle. Other than that, there is a dodge mechanic in which perfect dodges slow down time for just a few seconds. What also doesn't help is that for the most part, there aren't a ton of different enemies to fight, and the game feels very repetitive because of it. Going to a new area may mean a new enemy, sure, but the problem is that most of the enemies you're facing are more than likely reskins of ones you faced before. To give credit where it's due, you have 5 weapons equipped to make a combo. Depending on where they're attached, they may have different animations, thus they may have different properties attached to it. In addition to that, Hundred Knight has different forms called facets. Facets affect his status in different ways, and each one of them has their own pluses and minuses. There is definitely some sort of depth to its combat, it's just after a while it all feels a bit repetitive and not fun. Graphically speaking, the game isn't the greatest looker. Outside of the great CGs, it tries to hide its flaws in its PS4 Pro support by providing resolution options. Said options are more than just resolution, as said improvements also consist of lighting as well as shadow improvements. All in all, it's a decent game, no more, no less. The story is okay, but the characters are in a love or hate camps. The game isn't the greatest looking one in the world, but the music is at least okay. What really holds this game back is the combat. It's just completely lackluster and just doesn't have any real flair to it. If there will be a third entry in this series, all they need to do is polish the combat a bit more and then everything will be okay. Or at the very least, they can add a lock-on feature. And that does it for our review. To see the written review, be sure to check out our website, gaminggammon.com. A link to the site will be down in the description bar below. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I would love to hear from you. And if this is your first time checking out my channel via this review, hey, be sure to stick around and subscribe for future reviews, let's plays, commentaries, and more. And as always everyone, thanks for watching.